Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're jumping right into the gears of local government. We'll be looking closely at the July 7th, 2026 Select Board meeting held over at the Community Center in North Yarmouth, breaking down exactly how a town handles significant transitions and those day-to-day operational hurdles. Okay, let's dive into this. Have you ever wondered how a town actually keeps running when its top executive retires? It's kind of a giant logistical puzzle, right? I mean, when key figures step down, a municipality simply can't afford to hit the pause button. Essential services, tax collections, emergency responses, all of that has to continue without missing a single beat. You can see the North Yarmouth town seal right here. Well, local government really is the engine keeping a community moving forward through these inevitable changes. In this particular meeting, we get a front row seat to exactly how a newly seated board maneuvers through a substantial leadership shift, all while keeping the day-to-day operations perfectly on track. So here's our agenda for today. 1. Bridging the leadership gap. 2. The ambulance procurement debate. 3. Exploring refurbished ambulance options. And 4. Setting future board goals. Let's get right into it. Section 1. Bridging the leadership gap. Now, the town had a very specific, fairly tight window to manage. A new town manager isn't anticipated to start until August 3rd, but the outgoing manager's final days, those were in early July. So, to ensure absolute continuity, Diane Barnes graciously agreed to extend her employment slightly. She's focusing specifically on her roles as tax collector and treasurer until July 31st. Honestly, this was a really smart move. It completely prevented the board from having to transfer those critical financial responsibilities to an interim manager just to move them all over again a few weeks later. And this brilliantly illustrates the next step in their plan. To handle the actual town manager duties during this 3-week gap, they brought in Don Gerrish from Gerrish Municipal Consulting Services. Now, Gerrish is already intimately familiar with the town, mostly because he was the consultant helping them with the executive search for the new manager in the first place. The financial arrangement here is notably straightforward too. Gerrish's compensation is set at a highly transparent rate of $600 per day. He's contracted to work 2 days a week, but he actually offers a lot of flexibility. He's available for consultation outside those scheduled days, and importantly, he doesn't charge extra if a town meeting happens to run past normal business hours. It's a pragmatic, highly effective short-term fix to keep all those administrative functions flowing smoothly. Moving on to Section 2, the ambulance procurement debate. So, the fire department came to the board requesting authorization to solicit bids for a replacement ambulance. Let's look at the situation. On one side, we have the current vehicle. It's an aging 2015 model with over 70,000 miles on it. On the other side, we have the proposed solution, which is a $395,200 capital improvement plan replacement. Now, it's worth noting this expenditure was actually already approved by voters at the annual town meeting. But the fire chief pointed out that given the incredibly long build times for custom vehicles these days, by the time a new ambulance actually arrives, the current one will likely have pushed closer to 96,000 miles. That leads us to Section 3, exploring refurbished ambulance options. During the meeting, a resident actually brought forward some really compelling independent research. As you can see here, he noted the mechanics of the vehicle are brand new with a refurbished box on the back, about a $200,000 savings. He had spoken directly to a vendor and argued that refurbished units essentially provide a brand new cab and chassis. Plus, they could potentially be acquired much faster than the 36 to 39-month lead time estimated for a custom new build. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the estimated cost breakdown. Based on that resident's research, a brand new ambulance is budgeted at $395,200. But a refurbished E450 model, that could run around $198,000. And an F550 is around $273,000. For a board tasked with managing local tax dollars, that potential savings of nearly $200,000 was highly intriguing. It actually prompted several board members to pause and reconsider simply putting out a request for just a brand new vehicle. But of course, there are always two sides to every procurement debate. The fire chief pointed out the distinct ride quality advantages of a completely new vehicle, which is a huge factor when you're transporting patients. He also raised a pretty significant concern regarding the risk of underlying corrosion on used boxes. He noted that even if an old box is repainted and refurbished, existing corrosion issues can persist and cause serious headaches down the line. Finally, he added a really important data point. The current ambulance generated $132,000 in revenue for the town just last year alone.
His underlying point was that when you're evaluating the expense of a new vehicle, you absolutely have to factor in the revenue that top-tier equipment helps generate.
Ultimately, the board had to make a pragmatic decision here. Their unanimous resolution was to find a sensible middle ground, solicit bids for both new and refurbished ambulances. This allows the fire chief to go out, do the formal research, and bring back a complete book of data-driven information. By getting concrete high and low price comparisons, the board can accurately evaluate the actual cost versus quality before they officially spend those authorized funds. Section 4. Setting future board goals. This newly seated board wants to establish a very clear, actionable vision for the upcoming year. They agreed on a structured 3-step process to get there. Step 1. Board members will gather past goal-setting materials and write-ups via email just to see what strategies worked previously. Step 2. They'll hold a dedicated workshop solely focused on brainstorming and alignment. And Step 3. They aim to establish highly concrete goals for fiscal year 2027. They explicitly stated a desire to avoid the trap of creating way too many broad categories, and instead they want to focus on achievable, actionable items. So this brings us to a final question for you. How do you want your local tax dollars prioritized? Local government decisions, from hiring interim managers all the way to meticulously debating the purchase of a new ambulance, directly impacts the daily life of a community. It's a great reminder of why tuning into these processes actually matters so much. If you're a local resident, you should definitely consider attending future meetings at the community center to make your voice heard. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I'll see you in the next one.